Welcome to the next segment in our Day in the Life series. In this series, we are covering the details of how to be a successful SOLIDWORKS PDM administrator. In this round, we'll be walking through all things workflow. Now, when we start working with workflows, we need to be logged in as someone that has the ability to update workflows. To make sure we have this, let's check out our user. When we get to our user, we go to Administrative Permissions, go down and make sure that the Can Update Workflows is enabled. Now we're going to drill down and take a look at an actual workflow. To do this, we're going to go to the Workflow section, go ahead and double click on our current workflow here, our CAD workflow. I'm going to go ahead and expand and maximize this screen so that I can see the entire workflow as is. Workflows are a great way to control things. At its core, a PDM workflow lets you automate a process. Whether it's simple or complex is up to you. The most important process we automate is our CAD approval process. Now, before you start making changes to the workflows in your production system, it's always wise to back up your SQL database or try it out in a test environment first. In the graphics display area, you can see several rectangles and lines with labels. The rectangles, or states, represent a stopping point for our documents. These stopping points are where we will assign permissions to control how our users are allowed to interact with the files. The lines with the arrows and labels are known as transitions. These transitions represent the path to move a document from one state to another. Each transition can have assigned permissions that allow certain groups of users the ability to move the document forward through the process. Additionally, transitions allow us to capture information as well as initiate automated tasks like PDF creation. Every vault has to have at least one workflow for the documents to be added to. Every workflow has to have at least one state, and each workflow has to have an initial state. In our case, the work in progress is the initial state. We know that work in progress is the initial state in our workflow because when we open the properties, the checkbox is checked right here. Every file that gets added to the vault that resides in the CAD workflow will start out in the work in progress state. In this case, the work in progress state has permissions set so that CAD users can work freely until it's time to submit for approval. When a document is released, it becomes read-only to the users, but they can still use the file as a reference. During the release transition, we are invoking a number of actions. These include setting the revision variable and capturing which user performed the release command. In this situation, we'll be capturing the initials of the approver and placing it in the approved by variable. Additionally, we can add automation by creating a task that will make a PDF of our SOLIDWORKS drawings as they are released through the workflow. SOLIDWORKS PDM allows us to create conditions that automatically force files into the correct workflow. In the case of our CAD workflow, let's take a look at the properties. In here we will see that our conditions are set to allow only SOLIDWORKS files and DWGs into our workflow. All other files, like Excel sheets, Word docs, and images, will be sent to the general documentation workflow. We also ensure that our CAD files don't end up in the general docs workflow by adding conditions that restrict SOLIDWORKS files and DWGs from entering. Let's jump to SOLIDWORKS and test out adding a SOLIDWORKS part to our vault. We will go ahead and save the file into our PDM vault. Then add the file's information into the data card as required. Now we will check the file into the vault. We'll shut down SOLIDWORKS, go to our vault view in Windows Explorer, select the file. We could preview the file to make sure that's the file we're looking for. Then click the version tab to make sure it went into the correct workflow. We can also see that the file was added to the initial state of work in progress. Once I'm ready, I can then change the state of the file and submit it for approval right from the vault view. When I transition the file, I'll add a quick comment and select my CAD approver to be notified.